Hello, we're live. Whoop, thank you for joining us. No, as I'm saying, we can invite people in. If people want to talk, they should be able to come in. Yes. Actually seeing people.
Good. Died, hasn't it?
Right, just putting a link in the wee chat bar in case you want to join in with face chat. Oh, I better. Yeah, let me see that ready. Here is the link. Let me get the link. Where are you? Right, I'm putting a link in the chat bar now. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Here we go. Paste that in there. So if you would like to chat with us, if you have something to add to this issue, then there is a link. I shall put it on, I'll put it on the Facebook event page as well. Okay, I'll paste the link in there. So it's permanently there. All right, so that's the link now in the on the Facebook page. Right, so okay, different link. So this is the link. Edit post. This is great. Let's just set this up. This is the link to chat. Okay, so I'm going to post two links. I'm going to post a link to chat, and then this is the link to watch, because you can just watch as well and chat in the sidebar. Hello, Mac. Nice to see you. Copy that. Paste that there. There we go. Right. So now on the event page, we have the link to join in the chat with us so we can hear you or see you. And there's a link just to watch. So if you don't know where that is, we'll do that there. I'm going to share this post again. Straight in there again. And I'm going to pin one to the top. And hopefully between the two posts, you'll get it. Pin that post. Share. So this is really exciting. This is the full moon, guys. This is wonderful. I'm going to share this on my own timeline quite quickly. Oh, not that one. Bruce is here as well. Hello, Bruce.
Hello.
Hello, world. Thank you for joining us. We are doing this through Magical Intent. As a page we've not used much of before, but a space we created a couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Share on my timeline. Come in and join. Okay, right. I think that is everything I need to do. There, I shall check the comments. Yes, I posted in there that. Right, okay, so John is saying he's having to install software to do the Hangout thing. There are Sometimes. John is saying that he needs software.
I've done
Is that
the
John
software.
in? Hello!
Right, I have done software.
Nice to see you. I need volume here. Hold on. Here we go. Give me some volume.
Yeah, hello, Carol.
Hello, John. Nice to meet you.
Oh, a Facebook friend for I don't know how long we've known each other on Facebook.
It's been a long while, isn't it? Okay, the light behind us. Our lighting's terrible.
It is.
Right, let's see if we can improve that. I've been busy posting lots of links. I haven't seen us. Right, you got your thing. I was posting a chat link back to you there, John, but you're there.
Okay.
So who else? Hi, Vary. Hi, JD. And hi, Mac. Ah, is that Ian? Hi, Ian. Oh, Bruce is touching a hot bulb. That's good. Does that change? Oh no, that gives it a really weird other light. Okay. Right, okay. You've got your lighting right, John. Can you give us your lighting? You can see you. All right, I need to come into this space. It's been a bit manic. It has. So, oh, turn it down. That's maybe what I just needed to do. Hello.
Ah, somebody said yes, Ian. Now, and he's done some typing. So how does that work?
Hold on a wee second. I'm coughing.
I have no mic here, sorry. Right. Hello there, Ian.
Could you bring some speakers over? It's very hard to hear. Sorry, John, what did you say there?
Somebody is on this called Ian, but he has no microphone, so he's typing.
Yes, that works fine. I have a wee chat box here so I can see what the chat is. Hello, Simone.
I don't have a chat box.
You don't have a chat box. It works in for the people who are watching in YouTube. So there's two ways to join this Hangout. You can join through chat, which is where I can see you. You've joined to the chat. And you can join through just watching it on YouTube. If you go to the Facebook event page, both links are there, so you can choose which one. I have a chat box thing too. I love these Hangout spaces.
This is completely new to me. I've never done this before.
Well, we have been using this for a couple of years now, and it still surprises us with complications. Yes, there's a good word for it. So we're here. We're doing well. That's wonderful. And we're going to be talking about Pan tonight and polyamory, which is wonderful because that's what we became Facebook friends for.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was over the poly circles.
Yeah.
That was back at a time where we didn't know anybody at all, Bruce and I, who were remotely polyamorous. So, and the world has changed since then, though. Facebook's an amazing place, and I have met so many people all around the world now who have lots of different types of relationships. It's very inspiring. But what I'm finding, why we opened up this space tonight, is so many couples have stopped having sex. Everybody's all platonic, everybody's friends, we're all friends, we're all intellectualizing things, we've stopped bringing things into the body. So it was kind of to see if anybody out there was resonating with that and maybe raising the vibration a bit.
I'm having
You're fine, you're like, I'm up there, I'm going for it. That's great. We need people who are every aspect of it, so I'm happy to hold this space and see what's out there. But from my experience, I'm meeting and coming across so many people who seem to be damaged and seem to not be exploring themselves fully, and it's more to see what we can gather. What I'd like to do actually is create an actual physical space to explore this kind of energy. But I didn't have time between this morning and tonight to organise that space. So I had the time to put this hangout together and see who would turn up and who would talk about this and who is interested in raising the energy in this particular way, because I think
Oops. It's us. So yeah. So I will switch the other one off. Just a moment. Oops. You're still talking to me on the other one. Cool. This is much better. Much better. So I think we got this. Yay! First time on Hangout.
This might be a first for a lot of people. Hi guys, thank you for joining us.
Lovely to see you. It has been ages.
It has been ages, yes. Always lovely to catch up. I'd love to give you a real hug. We'll do that soon, I hope.
Yeah.
Simone is a beautiful yoga instructor, amongst many other things. Because yes, there's lots going on there.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick's a shamanic practitioner behind there. Hi, Nick.
Hi, how are you?
I think that's who I can see back there. You're in a wee box. Wonderful. We've got John, who runs the Facebook, one of the Facebook polyamory groups. One of the most active ones, I've got to say as well. It's a very well managed and very well maintained one. We've got Bruce up here. Hello, Bruce. Bruce. It worked better down there because the lighting was better.
All right, okay, we can do that. I can come down. I'll go and get
I can come down to your level.
Yes.
Right. So it's quiet, but yes, I've got no idea who's going to turn up tonight. I expect it to be fairly quiet, but you never know.
No.
You don't know who's going to turn up. But I'm hoping we can all share some wisdom. Bruce has put together some awesome magical incense behind us because it's the full moon tonight, and part of the fun is to acknowledge the cycles of life and where we are. So, and it happens to be a full moon in Sagittarius, which I think is perfect for discussing Pan. Discussing a bit more of the lower chakras, a bit more of the root and base energies in life. I don't think enough people are talking about it, and if they are, I'm in the wrong circles.
Well, this is something that I won't be able to contribute very much to because I'm not spiritual at all. I don't celebrate the year spinning round. I'm not into anything magical at all. My life is magical enough as it is, without anything
Awesome.
extra.
That's perfect. If you acknowledge the magic in your own life, and your Facebook is full of magic, so that's beautiful.
It's full of compost and full of multiple partners and full of all sorts of amazing people.
That's pretty magical to me. That's natural magic.
Yeah.
And I think if you've got your whole system kind of working in harmony with itself, you're going to be producing natural magic, which is fantastic.
Well, I've had a very magical week. I don't know whether you saw my post on Wednesday, I think it was, no, Tuesday. Tuesday, I was due to go to a meeting, but I'd been working all day in someone's garden, and I decided not to go, an evening meeting, and I was just doing some stuff in the front garden with some sticks, and this chap turned up, and you can see it on my Facebook. I wrote about it, and he appeared on his bicycle, and he told me that he used to live in the house in the 1980s, in our house. And,
wow.
He was cycling from Edinburgh. He just cycled from Edinburgh and stayed last night in the previous night in Newcastle. And because he's a keen cyclist and I'm a keen cyclist, I said, "Do you want to come in for a cuppa?" And he said, "No." He's looking for somewhere to camp, and he was going to go and put up his tent in a field or the edge of a wood. So I said, "Do you want to camp in our garden?" And he's had 3-4 nights in the garden. He's turned out like a bit of a brother to me. He's the same age as me. He's just a little tiny bit younger. He's just about to turn 50. I've just turned 50. And we're very, very similar, very high energy people, very talkative. It turns out that he's left Scotland in a bit of a huff. He's fallen out with his mum. He's been living with his mum, and he just left with hardly anything, just his birth certificate and a little bit of money, and nothing at all.
Wow.
And so he found this friendly place where we've given him breakfast and we've talked to him, and he's visited his old neighbours, our neighbours, who he used
Wow.
to babysit for 20 or 30 years ago, and he's a lovely chap, and you can find him on Facebook as Lance Bumstrong, and he's ever so well known in the world of cycling, and so I'm feeling this has actually made me question this kind of luck and chance thing, because this is the kind of thing that what I call woo-mongers focus on. That when a chance thing happens, some people will call it, oh, this was meant to be, this is a magical coincidence, and I just see it as a coincidence. I just see it as a bit of luck. But this has been so amazing for me to meet this guy, that it has made me question the kind of meant to be type things. So
Well, you create your own luck, and you've just been telling me how magical your life is. So it doesn't really surprise me that you're drawing something so magical, and that's an amazing story. Wow! Thank you for sharing that. That's just like, ha!
it is.
I do believe in magic. I believe that everything's perfect, even the things that are rubbish. I think that if there's rubbish inside you, that's what you get.
Yeah.
So that's wow. And he's in your garden.
Well, he's actually at a party in Leeds tonight. He's gone to see a friend in Leeds for a 50th birthday party, but he's coming back tomorrow, and he's decided to declare himself homeless, and I think he's going to settle in York and see whether he can find some work and somewhere to live in York, because he says it's very welcoming. So there you go.
Okay.
So
Well, that is awesome. From the person who doesn't believe in magic, some magic. That's an awesome opener. Wow. Okay. So this is, that's great. To me, that is a great proof of exactly what we're all wanting to be in life. We're wanting to be that open where we're drawing in that kind of magic. Do you know who for me, I was speaking to one of my long-term heroes the other week, totally by chance, through the wonders of Facebook. You probably won't have heard of her. Simone, you might have. It's Peruqua. I was chatting to her through email, just so on Facebook mail, but talking about bringing her to Scotland. But she's a great musical artist. I don't like any of the people in the charts these days, couldn't tell you anything about music. But there's one great musician out there that I love that's on my phone, on my Spotify list, and it's Peruqua. And yes, I just so happened to be speaking to her. I'm now talking to her about bringing her into Scotland. I see that as magic. I see that as, because I'm sitting in my wee house in Bathgate, no connection to this woman whatsoever apart from I love her to pieces. I think her music's awesome. And then I can suddenly be initiating some future meeting. I think that's awesome. And I think that's through the vibration you're at. That's magic. That's natural magic. Simone, have you been experiencing anything like this? You meeting any heroes out there?
It's through my work. I kind of like, it always feels like the right people comes through the door, and it's just amazing when people come. Like I'm a yoga therapist, so I work a lot on a one-to-one basis, and it's just sometimes I just need to pinch myself and just go like, okay, this is weird, and I get paid for this. It's great, it's just play and fun, and there's like even when I looked like 5 years ago, there would have always been like a couple of people that I've kind of like not looked so much forward to working with. That doesn't exist anymore. So they're just like pre-chosen. Sometimes it feels like there's like this filter, so that some people can find me online and some can, because I used to have a lot of nuisance calls and things like that, and just like, you know, single man showing up wanting extras rather than what I offer, and that hasn't happened for a while now, and I'm really, it feels like there's some kind of like, oh, I don't know. It's just I attract people that my abilities are matched to, and it's just, and that's magical to me because I don't feel vulnerable anymore working from my house, not necessarily anyone else in there, and it's just like, yeah, just fantastic. I love it. So,
well, that's wonderful. Yes, belief. I think the belief we have shapes everything. And if you've got this wonderful belief that your life is naturally magic, that what you do is healthy, and the more you improve your belief about yourself, because not all of us start there, and some of us, like myself, have worked a very long time to improve my own belief about myself and what I'm capable of doing, that yes, then your life changes. I'm witnessing change in my life. It's lovely to talk to people who are shining in that and bringing that in. That's awesome. That's wonderful. Shall we turn the talk towards Pan and the nymphs and the story and why we're here tonight? What do you think?
Yeah.
Are we up for a bit of that? Because one of the reasons I was inspired to open this space was because of the story of Pan, and why I think we should all be embracing more of that energy in life. A bit more lust, a bit more embracing nudity, I guess, embracing our whole bodies, our whole self, the sexuality. I guess that's what I'm talking about. And Pan is the release of that wild energy within us, and I think a lot of us are carrying repressed energy in that direction. Yeah.
Yes, I think certainly feeling suppressed, maybe, as opposed to repressed, but semantic, I suppose. But definitely, my own experience is very much that, you know, I've completely sort of switched off almost to what felt like a very natural energy previously, and it's completely kind of gone, and that's obviously came in and affected us quite dramatically. And it wasn't necessarily about Pan that would bring me into this, but certainly what that representation is, to kind of switch, not even to switch the energy back on, but to recognize and remember that energy, that sort of very raw root base energy that drives creation and drives life, can be reignited, and that is part of, I guess, what brought me to want to kind of, you know, come into this space, because I know as well, I've got, you know, several friends who feel similar, you know, men sort of around my age as well, a lot going on in home life, personal life and such, and sort of the, you know, the actual that raw masculine sexual drive is gone. And, you know, where the hell's it gone? Because I didn't let go of it. I didn't, you know, kind of. But what's happened with it? And the Pan representation of fertility, creation, being able to almost act with a wanton abandon, but it's, I think, pertinent to also keep a certain consciousness about that as well, and not just be, you know.
Well, it's providing a safe, contained space for it. I think you can access that wild nature, but make sure you're doing a safe container with people who have agreed to partake in this activity. Because if you're going to, Pan energy is incredibly potent. Yeah. It's incredibly powerful energy, and if you're going to be playing with Pan energy, then yes, you want to be doing, I think, with consensual people who are not, who are owning their own self decisions and choices, and not Yeah, not vulnerable. You can't play with this energy while being vulnerable, I don't think. Yes, so you want to go into that wild energy, but you want to keep it, like, we'll go into that wild energy from this afternoon till sunrise, pan time. You want to...
Yeah, so when people were kind of doing a ritual for Pan, it tended to be sort of ad hoc. There was no, so other deities may have been sort of certain times of the year, seasonal, or celestial points, whereas Pan was kind of called upon as and when, which is kind of exactly, I think, what is a bit required. You know, it's taking. He would take what he wanted as the manner suited him, whereas I think we find ourselves often kind of having to have a degree of conformity, and whilst there's, you know, within maybe more platonic or acquaintance-based relationships and such, that's kind of fair enough. But again, to have to be in a partner relationship where you can kind of explore that abandonment, that really tapping into Pan also kind of represents kind of a dark sex energy as well. Not evil dark, but just getting into that kind of more
dark. It's not inhibited.
Type of side.
So you want to hear the noises, you want to hear the real depths. When Pan and the nymphs are in that ecstasy of, and that's the whole thing, the whole rites are it's group rituals, so you're creating a noise, you're creating a sound that you're releasing. That's the magic. And when you really get down to the whole Pan energy, that's what you're creating. And if you create a sacred ritual, which is what I would really like to do in the future, in real life, is create that energy of a group of people who are consciously engaging in activating sexual energy. You're practicing it within boundaries, you're practicing it within a safely held space. Because this energy is so powerful. This energy will, if you use it correctly, can clear you out, can create visions within you because you're so clear within your consciousness. So I think for couples especially who have been together a long time, exploring such rituals together can have a profound effect on their marriage or on their life or whatever coupling they've got going. I don't think it's for single people. That's a different ritual.
Well, I've never done any rituals.
But you don't need to think of it as a ritual. You can also think of it as fun. Think of it as a party or a gathering.
I mean, I have friends who are pagan, and I have a recent friend who's a druid who I think has tried to get onto this thing but maybe failed. And they're into their rituals, but I don't do any.
Everything's belief. You can go into a ritual not believing in ritual, but believing in your own heart and believing in what you know within yourself, and that's all you need. Depends. I mean, obviously, if you're going to cause chaos and stuff like that, that's obviously not a good thing to be doing. But if you're in the heart of what's going on, I don't think you need to be. I'm not a pagan. I wouldn't call myself a practicing pagan at all. Even though I follow moon cycles and I do lots of pagan type things, and I definitely have pagan symbolism, but I also do a lot of Buddhist things as well, and there's a lot of different practices from around the world which I understand and practice. So I'm happy to adapt the energy of the moment. All these different energies, all these different teachers are teaching you how to use personal alchemy, I guess. They're all systems of healing and raising your energy to come back home to feeling like you're part. I don't know, feeling whole. It's all about feeling whole.
It is. I think there's a way of reclaiming empowerment, I suppose, within that as well. So
the thing is, a lot of people don't know you're damaged until you suddenly find yourself in a situation. You sometimes don't even know how damaged you are because you're so used to feeling damaged. It is, and it's so normal until you release something. You're like, oh my goodness, that's such a weight lifted. You don't know the dramatic effect it takes. And living the life that we live these days, there's so many burdens we have placed upon ourselves throughout our entire lives that we get to certain ages and we're lost. Like, who are we under all the I have to do this, get this done, all these different names, So you lose yourself in who you are, and part of raising the consciousness and the vibration of what we're doing here, and hopefully rituals like this, is to be engaged active consciousness. And Pan was definitely a god that was into multiple partners. Now, I don't think Pan in any way was spiritual. I don't think in any way that he cared about rituals. I think he was a god that just cared about beautiful women, beautiful nymphs, and that's pretty much his thing. We take the lessons we want to, and taking naps, yes. Naps are very important. Naps are where we get our dreams, and that's part of the rituals. But if you're not into these things, I think taking part in the rituals, you'll also find something from it. You can find your own moment within. Again, you'll always get what you believe. If you go into something like that thinking, well, I'll give it my best shot, see what happens, something awesome could happen, because you don't know you've opened the door for something to happen. If you go in with a really dour attitude, you may get a really crappy experience. So, I don't know. And you're always going to get what's inside you. The experience I would like to create is for this particular thing, I'd like to see couples come together and be able to create an intimate space in a group setting. I think that would be incredibly magic, and we could release a lot of energy and build a lot of energy. And when you do that, you can clear old patterns, and I think that's incredibly liberating in couples.
I think I've only got one partner who would like to do this kind of thing, so that would be Judith. She's quite spiritual, and she uses the phrase "hold the space" sometimes, which you've used, and she's a psychotherapist, and she's into process work, and she's much, and I'm very fond of her because she stretches me, because I'm this kind of pretty science-based, non-spiritual person, and she knows that. So we're both into our plants, we're both into botany, and she and I, match on that level, and it's great to meet somebody who's as sex positive and poly positive as I am, because normally I'm the one to introduce polyamory to a relationship, because I've been poly for 23 years, and for me it's just normal. But quite a few of my partners, I've told them about poly, and they said, "Whoa, is that a thing?" and they then think that they've been poly for years but didn't know the name.
Yeah, well, we were the same when we found poly.
Yeah.
But there's a name for this. That was really quite liberating, and I'm sure you were right up there with the first people we found that were using that term.
Well, I went on this non-monogamous in '93. So.
In '93.
1993.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I don't know. I think I've always been poly. I think it's always been within me. I think I tried monogamy until I met you. Really, we were monogamous till 2 years in, 3 years in, something like that.
Maybe two.
And then
we were never. Yeah, there was never kind of a strictness about it. In fact, there was a point you became ill within about a year and a half or so of us being together, and one of the kind of things that Carol said was, I don't know how long this is going to last, and it was a complete detriment to our sort of relationship sexually, and you kind of said, look, if it comes up for you, then you're free to kind of explore with somebody else. And we'd already kind of spoken sort of up in the head about sort of not non-monogamy, but just being able to appreciate other people as well, and had no real hang-ups about that. But that was kind of the first gestural statement, I suppose, of openness within our relationship that neither of us had really touched upon until that point.
I always encouraged you to tell me who you like. So
yeah,
I was always interested to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't want to ever wonder who you liked.
Yeah.
That's where it started.
I'd never quite personally having only one other person in my life that can kind of satisfy all needs, wants, desires that I may have just didn't kind of. I would find that's like trying to wear the hat of dad, husband, brother, son, business owner, whatever it happens to be, and try it becomes kind of almost sometimes unachievable, which I think is and some relationships work perfectly brilliantly as one-to-one, so I have a complete appreciation for that too. However, ours not so much.
We've had great periods of just being monogamous. It's just been the two of us. Not always had external relationships.
No, it's not been a constant thing for us.
It's been in and out over the years, not because we've been going back to monogamy, just because we've been moving about so much. So we've been in a lot of different places and not always had time to have external relationships.
We'd rather get our feet planted in one place before we're kind of packing up and heading somewhere else. So yes, that becomes, whereas 4 years we've been based in Bathgate, and it's given us, between the last place that we lived and here, it has given us a bit of an opportunity to kind of set down and then kind of widen out from there. It's been a very interesting few years through that, for sure.
We're starting to find a community in Edinburgh now, which is really nice. And we're starting to meet like-minded people, and through the wonders and joys of Facebook, and different events are going on through the Tantra circles, through the Awaken circles.
Not necessarily poly, but just the community of people are.
But they're open-minded people, and you're meeting a lot of people who are, I guess, poly-conscious. They're definitely a lot of poly-curious people out there. So that's really nice. It's nice to be based somewhere, and I think I'd like to get closer to Edinburgh. But my plan is to open up more space to help people connect. And I know Simone's into doing that kind of thing as well, because yes, I think it's very important to get people connected. We're all going to be full of us. There's so many single people out there who are ready to meet, so creating more events where people can meet is also, I think, very important.
Can I say something as well?
Yes, please.
The difference between a swingers meetup and a ritual is quite profound, actually. Like, I've done both, and they're uncomparable. I don't think that it's just like a little bit of a ritual or something like that. One is with the purpose of coming together to create something and to expand, and also to come together to actually let go of your masks. Where a swingers club is really, you can just show up, pretend you're anybody. And
I've never been to a swingers club.
This knowing that you show up as authentic as you can that day. It's very much the gift to the group. So that is what is the difference between just like getting it off with each other or having a ritual space. Both have their place, but it's very different. I don't think it's comparable. Because
yes, I agree.
It's really nice to go to a place where you can just pretend you're anything you want. So you can just put on whatever you want. You can totally, it's escapism, or can be escapism, where a ritual place should be somewhat the opposite. In a way, that's how I feel about it. But
yeah, no, that's a great thing to say, and I very much agree with you. I'm talking about, I guess, two separate things here. As I said, when you're creating kind of like a pan ritual, when you're kind of taking somebody really into that deep primal space, I think that should be reserved for couples, for people who want to go into that, because it is a profoundly deep space. And I think that should be for people who really want to get in there and get in deep with each other. Whereas connecting, which is what I was talking about there, that's not quite the same thing. That is slightly difficult. I've not done any swinging things, but I'm guessing that is kind of what I'm looking at doing, by connecting people together. I've never thought about it in that way.
Mm-hmm.
I've never thought about myself as being a swinger. I guess I may be.
For me, there is a difference between polyamory and swinging, which is that swinging is based on just the physical sex. And I went to one swingers weekend, sort of a sex party weekend, and it was interesting, but it wasn't what I liked doing really. I mean, I enjoy having sex, but having I wouldn't say meaningless sex, but just having sex with somebody you don't know isn't as satisfying as making love with somebody that you do know and that you love.
Mm.
So I haven't sought out another swingers event, and I went to London for the first one, so I travelled from York to London, and one of my very early poly partners invited me to it, and so I jumped at the chance because I thought this is going to be great. But actually, looking back on it, it was all right, but it wasn't great. So I'm happy with the sexual experiences that I do have, which are nearly all just one-to-one and very ordinary. I'm not into kink or anything like that. I'm just pretty boring sexually, really.
So far. You don't write yourself off yet. You have plenty more time. You never know.
I have partners who are into kink, and I've always said to them, if you want to show me stuff or invite me to try stuff, I might give it a go. But so far, none of them have done. Because they're happy with the kind of vanilla relationship that we have.
Well, that's always nice.
Yeah.
I like a bit of kink. Kink's fun.
What kind of stuff do you like doing?
What kind of stuff do I like doing? I like experimenting. So after 16 years of being with one partner, we've tried a lot of different things.
Right.
I like to be experimental. In fact, we went through one of our most experimental phases when we separated. 10 years ago or something like that. We separated for a while. That initiated a great phase of sexual experimentation. That was a good phase. I like that.
There's almost a freeing of, from the relationship itself that allowed us to just kind of come in at things from a completely different angle. There was a complete relaxation, I guess, from the relationship. So it's certainly, I think, you were there as a person, in an experimental way beforehand, whereas I was...
We knew from the beginning,
yeah.
But you were very, again, no, what to do with that? And I was okay.
Yeah, no.
I've waited a very long time.
And that was, for me, I suppose that was within, just not being able to kind of let go of what felt like normal behaviour or social conformity or... and never having been exposed, so not feeling any sort of experience or confidence or such to kind of be feeling in a position of control, or not in control as in controlling over somebody, but in being able to step myself through from sort of a beginning point and through that experience, and that shifted.
So for many years, you got to a place where you like to play, and you've been playing with other people.
Yeah.
And you like to play more in that particular way as well. There's you can exploring with things like pain and pleasure, exploring with sensation play. There's so many different kinks that are so normal. I think if you've just played with blindfolds, just played with these are kinks, but they're not. It's just normal love, and it's normal love as to how does this feel and how does this feel, and the more kinky you get, I guess, is just the more things you experiment with. And so, what does this feel like? But one of the biggest liberations I got in my entire life was through kink, I guess. And it was through the liberation of spanking, to be honest, because that had always been something that was terrifying to me and a horrific concept in my life, because I'd been abused in that way. You didn't want to be hitting that way. But when we started experimenting with that, that was an amazing experience for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, that can be really enjoyable. Who knew? And that came through another shamanic vision practice thing. So
there's a deep catharsis can be had. It's interesting, you know, just within that single activity, it can be done in so many different ways. To, you know, it can be enjoyable. It can be, you know, it can be done in a fun and kind of just exploring on the edge of pain, pleasure. But there's also there's a therapy within it, catharsis, healing. You can really take a person into, you know, deeply traumatic memories, and then kind of the care and attention required to hold the person, hold that space, you know, for the person to be able to kind of go into that kind of a deep place and also be right there with them, bringing them back out again, is a fantastic honor and a responsibility within that as well. And that's kind of, you know, what I enjoy in experiences like that is the deep trust that I'm afforded and granted. I'm very humbled by it quite often, to be trusted in such a way for somebody to become so vulnerable, and yeah, and kind of allow me to take them on a journey. And it often feels for me it's often quite intuitive as to how it kind of plays out. And we've had many different experiences, and I've had different experiences with other people as well, same person, but, you know, I have quite profoundly different moments with them. And it's, you know, it's like it's never the same thing twice, and that's just one aspect of kind of play in that regard.
That's definitely not pan play. That's definitely more focused.
You're right. It's not
sacred tantric play. No, it's not. That's the sex magic. It's all sex and sex magic and releasing that energy and using that energy in a positive way and in a poly way. And a kink, yes, exploring kink is a really pleasurable and sometimes traumatic thing you can do within relationships to improve where you are. If you're with somebody for a very long time, then yes. If you're going to be without kink, I don't know if I could do 16 years without kink with anybody. I couldn't. Personally, I couldn't. I wouldn't want to. But
yeah, it tickles me slightly that, you know, that you can be Paul. And to me, there's
probably quite kinky to use it.
Well, from a completely vanilla mono point of view, it is. Yes, it comes from that perspective. It can be. I mean, I completely appreciate what you're saying, but it is just interesting to kind of hear it put in such a way. Yeah. I had. I'd also realized that within the pan energy that we're discussing, when I was kind of doing a little bit of research into sort of pan, I touched upon it earlier on, and it's quite a dark, or can come from quite a dark energy. Pan was almost, you know, known for sort of almost, it was almost like a rape sort of energy that he would come into sort of intercourse with, which obviously is in a non-consensual way is extremely dangerous, and certainly actively discouraged. But it's that kind of dark, that very a deeply powerful energy, and something that over years that I've experienced on and off as well in you know, sort of intimacy. I can sometimes the energy shift within me has been so profound that I've almost blacked out in mid-activity, to wake up then the next morning having no recollection, and yet, you know, sort of it's been quite a profoundly powerful experience for you, and that was something that kind of resonated, and it's an energy that I would love to be able to tap into consciously, actually maintain my awareness with this energy, and begin to understand and kind of integrate it into my experience, because I don't feel that it's just something that stops at the sex level either, and I think that's a very important thing to kind of, well, it's something that I would want to bring up into this space anyway, is that to to be exploring this energy at root level is the effect that it has, kind of resonates out or ripples out from us in more aspects of our life than just, our sort of sexual intercourse or sexual energy with other people, but also our expressive energy in other relationships, in our business, in our creativity, our artistry, our whatever it happens to be. The blocked energies or energies that we don't understand or that we're afraid of at a root level can be profoundly impactful on those other aspects of our life as well. So to have then read this within just this exploration, I guess I kind of then attached or found an affinity for that pan energy, that mischievousness, that dominating energy, but being able to do it from a conscious point as opposed to...
That's where you take it in the couples. If you do it in a conscious couple, you can access that energy, and you can do it as play. It's not swing. It's not. You can do it, but you can come and embrace that energy, and you can play with that pure energy. But if you want to connect with somebody on that deep level, then it is a totally conscious and sacred thing. You're not going to access deep pan energy just by jumping into bed with somebody. That is something that you're going to create a mood for, I guess. You're going to create lighting, you're going to create music, you're going to create a smell, you're going to create something that's going to bring that in, which is why I think creating it as a group ritual is probably really powerful. I think creating it as a group energy would be profoundly releasing for couples who are having issues, and also very bonding for couples who wish to explore, I guess, more light kink. Because that's staying with, I guess, within the same partners, I guess, if you want, or I don't know, you could open up that space to something more orgiastic, I guess. But again, you're doing it within that space where it's not quite swinging. You're doing it within a space where it's held and everybody's agreeing to go into that space. I think in the past year, I went and did some ISTA training in November last year for the International School of Temple Arts. There's a group of people that I've been interested in meeting for many years, and they're all about holding sacred temple space and exploring deep sexual energy and sexual healing. My eyes were opened to what you can actually hold space for now. It's just like, wow, you can really hold space to go really, really deep with people and get really intimate with people. And the space that I've been creating in my own mind for many years is of that level, is of connecting couples. I think, definitely taking couples on a journey of their own exploration of their sexuality and their energy, and what that means, because whether you believe in magic or not, you can believe to put your intention into something. So if you focus your intention into your business, whatever it is you want to create, then you can use the ritual for that. And it is, you can call it magic, or you can just call it intention setting. There'll be a sciencey way of putting it. Yeah.
Well, Napoleon knows. Of harness those potential energies, and instead of frittering them away in habits, it is to really focus that energy and turn it into action, into goal achievement and such like. I'm trying to see if I can bring up the conversation in there so we can have a bit of interaction. I'm just trying to do that. But yes, sorry, I'll be back.
Yeah, I really hear you, Bruce.
Oh, you can barely hear me. Right.
Can't hear you at all.
Far away, sorry.
I'm always telling him he's too quiet.
No,
He likes to talk.
I couldn't hear what he said very much.
What I was basically just saying was transmutation of that sexual energy. I think I've now kind of lost quite where Carol finished off, that I picked that up. But in there's a book by Napoleon Hill called Think and Grow Rich.
It's the science of sex magic.
So yeah, well, so what one of the chapters within this book talks about the transmutation of sexual energy. So instead of when sexual energy builds up within somebody, they can sometimes or often choose to fritter that energy away, to waste it, to spend it recklessly, as it were, through some insidious habit. Now, that need not necessarily be through sort of self-pleasure or such, or meaningless sex. It can be done with other sort of toys and gadgetry, electronics, or drugs, alcohol, these types of things. And so what Napoleon Hill speaks about is taking that energy, and instead of throwing it away, focusing it and charging it towards some other greater, higher purpose, ambition, achievement that that we have set for ourselves in life. Now this is a chapter that's within a book of sort of 14-15 chapters that discusses the corresponding habits of extremely successful business people, sort of about 100 years ago, and so it's not it's not kind of conjecture or hyperbole that it seemed to be something that linked over 500 successful business people, and this was one of the things that, especially in men, as they were kind of tipping over the 40-year point, the energy drive shifts into something that is different, and that kind of the youthful energy dissipates, and there's a space for something else to kind of be created, and it kind of talks about that somewhat. Worth certainly reading through the chapter. In fact, I think I've sort of dictated it into a video somewhere on YouTube at one point, which I could always kind of link through Magical Intent or something.
Business way to look at
it. It's a very masculine way of looking at that.
There's different ways to look at it.
So that's from a very masculine kind of point of view, is taking that energy and turning it into something, building a new structure, erecting a new steeple, as it were. So yeah, that is another way of taking this energy, though, that's available to us, without it having to be limited to the act of sex, sexual intercourse, or intimacy. Indeed, it can actually be something that's contained within us and stays within us, but is expressed then in quite a different format, and can have possibly as pleasurable results, really, when it comes down to it.
There's many different ways of using this energy. Absolutely. What you want it is to be clear and flowing. That's the idea. And the more you use it and the more you free the energy, the more that's going to happen. The more your body is clear of the negative vibrations and like that. So, okay. People in the chat.
Yes.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to bring up that chat window on this system, so that.
Which is on the other computer at the moment, trying to monitor the chat, because there's people talking in the chat box as well. All right. So, is there anything you guys want to talk about that you hear that you thought, oh, that sounds interesting, and we haven't covered it, we haven't talked about it? Is there any wisdom out there that you wish to pluck from us, or we can pluck from you?
Well, I'm always happy to talk about how I do poly and stuff like that. I'm very open about that. But I feel we're probably speaking a different language, because I'm very I don't understand anything to do with this pan stuff. I never use the word spirit. I never use the word energy unless I'm talking about my my green things, because that's all about energy, but a different sort, something that's actually measurable. And I feel very much on the edge of this. However, I am as a scientist, I'm open-minded, and I'm interested in the way that other people think, and because I want to understand people, I am willing to kind of earwig this conversation and try and understand it and what have you. So yeah, I can certainly answer questions about my poly stuff if anybody wants to know.
Well, that's awesome, because yes, you are certainly a voice on poly life and active, healthy poly life. Simone, Nick, how are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Have you got anything, questions there? Anything you want to share?
Maybe just about on this energy thing, not the green energy, the other energy.
Yeah.
It's like, it's such, which you probably maybe agree with me. For me, being bisexual, being with a woman is a completely different energy than being with a man. And what I kind of like have my challenge with is to have sex with a man and a woman in one room, because for me that energy doesn't mix. When I have magic with a woman, any cock would completely destroy that. It's just a completely different energy. It's just like, it's like a world apart, being with a woman or being with a woman and a man. They're incompatible. They're incomparable, the two. So that's kind of like, which is really tricky when you're in a relationship with someone that hasn't, like, I was bisexual all my life. I only had open relationships, and then I met lovely Nick, who and we were very open with each other, and we tried and things like that. But it's obviously, for me, it's like the most normal thing. I don't know how to have a close relationship, so I'm very much out of my depth, and he's out of his depth, and we both would like to probably explore in a safe environment with people that we know quite a bit more. But and I completely respect him for, you know, being authentic with it, and we have worked with it on a basis of trust. But it's just really interesting. You know, for me, the gift of a woman is so special. I don't know if I really need to have sex with another couple. Like, that's kind of like just an extension of what I have at home. So, but like having like this connection with a woman is just, that's magical. That is magical. Like, two women coming together is just heaven. But I wouldn't want to live with a woman, which I have done before. So it's really quite interesting. So that's the energy bit that I maybe can share with you, John. I don't know, have you experienced that?
I would use the word feelings rather than energy, because I have no definition of the word energy from the way that my spiritual friends use it. So I ask them to give me a definition of the word spirit or the word spiritual or energy, and they kind of clam up because there isn't a good definition. And I'm an Aspie, and I need definitions. I need things to be cut and dried so I understand them.
Yeah. So my definition between, like, the difference between feelings and energy would be that a feeling can create an energy in my body, and it's not a sensation. Because I'm an energy worker, so I work with the energy, and I help people with it. So that's scientific. You know, it's not that I make them walk when they come in with a wheelchair, but it's like, it might be placebo, and that's absolutely fine. I love placebo. If it helps people, make it placebo. It's all good. But the energy that is created, which is not a feeling, is like beyond the room. It's like it's not within two people. Like, feelings, I quite find, are between two people or more people, or they're in the room. Where energy is like, it travels. It's less dense, and it travels further. And it can travel to the other side of the planet within no time. There's kind of like nearly describe it as the feeling that a mother has for a child, that if the child's unwell in Australia, the mom gets realizes that. So it's a feeling, but not really a feeling. It's thinner than a feeling.
It's a sensation as opposed to an emotion. Sorry.
Pardon?
It's a sensational response as opposed to an emotional response.
Sensational response instead of an emotional response.
Is that kind of closer? Because our emotions are obviously
dense. An energy is much less dense than a feeling. A feeling is a physical reaction, pretty much, and an energy is just much less dense. That's how I feel. That doesn't necessarily explain energy to you.
No.
Yeah.
I understood that, Simone. I understand what you're trying to say. It makes sense to me. Energy. You can measure energy. When you talk about plants having measurable energy, why would humans not have the same measurable energy?
Hello.
Oh, hello, Clara.
Hi.
Welcome to the chat this evening.
Have I missed very much?
We've been chatting for about an hour so far. We've been covering all sorts of different things. What we're chatting about just now, we're chatting about energy.
Whoa, my perfect subject.
Well,
Maybe help us out then.
I teach about energy.
Well, that's good, because we're trying to describe what the difference between energy and feelings are, how you describe energy to somebody who's based in science. That's where we are just now.
Yeah, I'm just tuning into that one.
So yes, we've been discussing polyamory, and we're discussing lots of different people's energies coming together, and it's interesting to try and talk about it with somebody who's coming in from it from such a direct and masculine point of view. Because yes, certainly there's a lot of women here, and we certainly all work with a lot of feelings. But Bruce is interesting because Bruce is definitely coming from a very masculine point of view as well.
Who is Bruce?
Bruce is my partner, my husband of 16 years.
Ah, is he here?
He has disappeared. He was behind me. That's what you get after 16 years. You just leave.
I would describe energy as two things. I would describe energy as an inherent quality that we have as human beings. It's not to do with feelings. However, feelings, I think, are part of it. Our energy system is our, it's like our battery.
That makes sense. I get that, yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's like we're an organism, aren't we? And we're like, you know, we have blood flowing through us, and, you know, we have energy flowing through us. And how we manage our energy is, you know, our feelings are part of that. It's our emotional guidance system as well. I think our emotions are guidance to how we need to manage our energy. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense to me, Clara. I love that. Describe our energy as a battery, so that kind of shows you the circuitry that links up our whole body, and then our feelings being a way to manage how that energy is working, so we can feel if that energy is gathered in one point, or if it's stagnated or blocked.
Exactly.
You'll get that as a feeling, as a pain, as a directional push to look at you. So yeah, I think that's a fantastic. Thank you. That's awesome, because yeah, I see that John, do you make sense of that then?
Not
Do you
at all.
understand? Nope.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
I'd like to take it a little bit further than that, because that's kind of what I'm teaching right now. So it's helping me actually, because I've always, as a little girl, had a lot of connection around energy and seeing. You know, I've been a seer, and I've really only owned up and claimed it really in the last sort of 5 to 10 years. That, and I see energy. I see blocks in people's bodies. And so what I want to also add about energy is that it's, I mean, I believe in the soul, you know, that we have a soul and we're connected to a higher, I don't know, a higher source, a power. People call it God. It's this amazing benevolent energy in the universe, and I think that we're all connected to it, and I think that we have our own unique connection as well, and it kind of flows through us. And so how much do we dare to open to that higher center of energy, that sort of, they call it the quantum field. Scientists like to call it the quantum field that we tap into. But I think it also resides within us, and it's also outside of us. So I think it's interesting that when we come across other beings, you know, we feel their energy. Sometimes that might be, we might be feeling their anger, or we might be feeling their love, or we might be feeling their sadness, but we feel it.
Yeah, no, I think that's wonderful. I very much resonate with what you're saying. Yeah.
But even if you take the whole God thing, belief thing, and thing out of it, like what would like acupuncture be based on if it's not energy? It's the electrical system of your body. So what would you say on that one, John? It's not feeling based, it's not physical, it's charged.
I've tried acupuncture. I've tried lots of complementary therapies because I have a genuinely open mind about things. And either I've got a very thick skin, or they don't work on me. Yeah, I've tried lots of different complementary therapies. I've always been honest with the practitioner, of course, because I'm a very honest person. So I've always said, I'm coming to try these out because I don't know how they work. I can't see how they can work, but I'm willing to give it a whiz. And so I've tried quite a few. And we had a LET system in York in the 1990s, which I helped run, a local exchange trading system. So I got lots of complementary therapies paying with an alternative currency called Yorkies. So I did lots of gardening and all sorts of practical things for people, and then I spent my Yorkies on all sorts of interesting things, experimental stuff. But no, I don't believe in a soul. I certainly haven't got a soul. I can tell you that.
Yeah, like for example, like it's not a belief thing, the acupuncture. Like there's actually people that operate on people just by putting a few needles in their body, and they're under general anesthetic. So we're beyond belief with that one. So that's like scientifically proven.
I totally understand that my own experience of acupuncture is nothing to do with a scientific process. I could certainly link you to some good studies about acupuncture where they have looked at acupuncture, and in fact I've designed no, that was homeopathy. I'm quite interested in the design of scientific experiments, and I've had some rather difficult arguments with some of my green friends who are complementary therapists and people who believe in complementary therapies and stuff like that. So it's a very complicated subject. It's very difficult because I want to be honest, but I don't want to piss people off.
But it's not about pissing people off. Like if there's actually hospitals where they do like heart transplants or something like that, just with a few needles in you, you don't really need to believe in that one. That's like it is a science and it is a medicine. It's just not common in here. And the average acupuncturist in the Western world, they have very little clue. A bit like a yoga therapist. You know, they think they know what they're doing, but they actually haven't done the homework and they haven't done the studying. So I've studied for 10 years just to be a yoga therapist. Yeah, I don't really find very many that have put that much study time in. And I'm German. I'm very scientific. I'm result based, and I give people their money back if I can't help them. So I think that you don't really need to believe in it or something like that. But I help people and help with other things. So
I don't like to miss people's beliefs. For instance,
can you speak up a bit, John?
Yeah, sorry, there's a lot of noise going on in the background of somebody's thing here. I don't like dissing people's beliefs. I'm agnostic. I'm quite happy to say I don't know on lots of things. So I'm an atheist because I don't believe in God or any gods. But I'm agnostic because I can't prove that God doesn't exist. My father, however, brought me up as an anti-theist. So he's a bigoted anti-theist who hates religion and hates all that kind of stuff, and he says that people who have religion are idiots. And I don't say that because I love some people who have faith, and what I do is I see people as people and I ignore the stuff that causes difference. So for instance, one of my partners is 72 years old. I have a couple of partners who are the same age as me, more or less, in their late 40s, early 50s. But I have another partner who's in her 20s. And so age doesn't bother me at all. Ditto disability. I've had partners who are disabled. So I tend to kind of ignore peripheral stuff about people and just focus on them as a human being and whether we click or don't click. And also, I find that I'm very non-discriminatory, so I can love lots of different people. Whereas I've got some friends who are really picky, and they have a very either a nothingy love life because they're picky, or they have a difficult love life because they love somebody, but there are things about that person that annoy them. Whereas I just accept people as people, and I have a fantastic love life. I have a really amazing personal life with lots of different sorts of relationships. Not all of them sexual, but I have about 6 or 7 people as I would call partners, and I have a brilliant time. So
I've got a feeling, John, that your energy is naturally very high, and what people are talking about, you have naturally skimmed over the edge. I just wanted to say quickly though, I muted Sarah there because your microphones are causing a lot of static. If you want to talk, unmute your microphones. I'm not muting you so you don't speak. Just wanted to put that in there. And also in the chat, we've got Terimo was saying he was taught to enter into energy sensitivity by tuning meditatively into sensations without labeling it, without any concept. So the pure essence is sensation, which is a very good way, I think, to feel into different energies. That requires, again, to go into meditation. But I don't want to get into an argument about, or drawn into what energy is, whether we can feel it or not. What I want to do is, I think we can all agree that hopefully, that if we place our intention on something, that's where the energy will flow. And where we want this group energy to flow tonight, what I'm trying to do before we go is to bring it into a place of love and magic and lust, and not being afraid to embody our deepest desires within a healthy relationship, so within a coupled setting. What I would encourage people to do for this full moon, because this is in honor of the full moon, is to write. if you're into this sort of thing. If you're not, feel free to let it wash over you. But if you're into this sort of thing, to write a letter to Pan, the god Pan, and talk to him about what you're looking for. If you're wanting something in your life that you maybe don't have just now, but if you're looking for something, a different energy, or someone to share your lust, something to explore that depth of relationship with, maybe write a letter to Pan and allow that energy to come through in your dream time or as a vision or something like that, because you can use the magic of the full moon, you can use the magic of the energy that's coming in at this time for that. This is a fantastic full moon for this. Just saying, somebody in the chat saying some people say that labeling is good to keep concentration for beginner meditators, but I think the best way is to start from the beginning, to do it right as you've done it. So well, here we go. So yes, meditation is a great practice. If you meditate more, obviously you're going to be able to hear more. You get to pick up on the different sensitivities of energy, and that includes all the different energies that come to you. Pan is an energy, it's a universal energy. And yes, if you're wanting more sex magic, more lust in your life, then write to Pan. That's my encouragement for everybody in this space. Is there anything anybody else wants to say? Because we discussed it earlier. Clara and JD kind of missed. We talked about Pan and Nymph energy earlier. You can go back and revisit that in the Hangout if you want at another time. Update yourselves on it. But yes,
sorry, Caroline. I've been here the whole time. I decided to come in and do Hangouts once in a while. I can't put a number of other people there. Showed face. Maybe it's not brave enough. But I was watching it on YouTube. I've decided now to watch it on Hangouts because having two of them running is kind of silly. So thanks for keeping updated with the comments. And I'm really inspired by the debate we've got going on here. And I feel like I have to type in with a slight disagreement. I'm coming in from I don't like the labels anymore. I don't want to be labelled anymore. I feel like it negates the other feelings. You know, if I say I'm a happy person, then I can't be sad, and if I'm on this side of one thing, then I'm opposed to another thing. But and does anyone do you understand what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there is just the growing, is a flowing of what's with the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that. I don't think, if I'm picking you up correctly. Yeah, labeling can be dangerous. It depends what you're going for. When it's coming to concentrating, perhaps it is a very good practice. But in general, yeah, go with the flow. Don't put yourself into a box. Don't pigeonhole yourself. Allow yourself to flow between emotions. Again, if you're using sex magic, if you're going to be using kind of root chakra magic, it's going to release and clear all these different things, so your energy is flowing, so hopefully you can pick up on the best things in life that's happening to you. And see, John, I think you're just naturally magic. It just comes off you. And see, when you said that I loved your Yorkies, that was a great story. When you're talking about you've traded them all in for complementary therapies, that just naturally raises your energy. You don't even have to believe in what's going on. It's just naturally happening. You called it in. Bet you've had more natural therapies than I've ever had. And that's just beautiful. To me, that's magic in action. If you spend all your time with plants and plant magic and plant medicine and green energy, then it will call into you the people in your life that you're perfect. You're in a beautiful place, and I love the fact that you're there and you're glowing. So I don't think you need to believe in anything to activate your system. I think you're just fine. And I think...
Sorry, I want to come in here, John, just to clarify the magic thing. Not to come against you, but what if magic is just what science can't currently quantify? Fire was probably magic before people decided, oh, you need heat and you need these ingredients to make this. Gravity, in much the same way, you could go through everything the science has discovered, and at some point, I think people believed it was some sort of magic that was going on.
Yeah.
There certainly are some things that science finds it very difficult to quantify. Two things that I'm noodling about at the moment are gender and romance. Both of those are just entirely in one's head, and there is no way of quantifying them or measuring them. And I personally would like to eradicate gender, because it is so unhelpful. We used to think of just I mean, sex and gender are different, so we've got to understand the difference between those two things. I'm sure most people do, but we used to think of gender as just either male or female, and now we know that people can move between the two, and we have people with gender fluid and transgender, and I think the word gender is now completely unhelpful, and we need to just forget people's genders and say, you know, you're a person. And if you want to present as male or present as female, then that's fine. And if you want to use a particular pronoun, that's fine. And you can assume a pronoun. And if you want to correct somebody, then on your head be it. You know. So I'm aware that science can't explain everything, and it doesn't need to. But science can investigate almost anything. So we can investigate gender if we wish. We can do MRI scans and PET scans and stuff for people who are of a particular gender, and we can try and identify whether there is actually something measurable there. Some people say that there is. Some people say that trans brains are different to cis brains, but I don't know.
One question, John. Do you think that plants have feelings or energy? No.
I can tell you that plants do have measurable electrical signals.
Yeah.
For me, feelings indicate some kind of nervous system. However, I'm really into mushrooms, and I'm really into the way that different organisms communicate. So fungi communicate with other organisms, and and bacteria can transfer information to different species of bacteria. So there's a whole lot of what other people might call magic. I just call it biology. This is biology that we are discovering about now. We're just discovering about mycelium and how mushrooms can communicate with other organisms. And I think that's amazing. Mushrooms have had a big impact on my life. I won't go into too many details, but you know, as I've had some mushrooms this evening. I've had sulfur polypore, or sulfur shelf. So I've had a meal of foraged mushrooms.
Fantastic. Mushroom energy is wonderful. Plant energy is wisdom. I call it magic. Okay? That's one of my terms for life. I think the whole of life is magic.
It's a craft. As much as science is a craft, the magic is a craft. They're all crafts. We're all talking about the same stuff in different languages, and that, I think, is one of the biggest barriers that we have, is the requirement for, you know, think of the colour blue. What are the chances that the blue that you're thinking of is the same as the blue I'm thinking of? So instantly, you know, language becomes something that's very subjective, personal, but we are, you know, I'm hearing people talking around the same things. I come from a scientific background myself. I did 5 years of chemistry at university. Everything's instrumental, everything's measurable, everything's quantifiable, everything has a yield. And some of the concepts or the aspects of life that I'm exploring at the moment, there isn't a machine that's been built that can measure it yet. And to me, that's the only difference, is as yet that technology hasn't been created that can, you know, see an auric field on somebody. But then you get Kirlian photography. It can, you know, sort of look at the energetic field aspects of living forms. We have, you know, different energetic fields and electromagnetic fields around us, much as the Earth does. The Earth has this massive Taurian field that goes around it that shields it from the electromagnetic influence of the sun. We're not so different. we have an energetic field around us, and to me that's that's what energy is. That's what energy workers deal with, is clearing and cleansing and making, taking out the blotches and the dark marks from those energetic fields to get the flow running back through, going back to Qi or Qi energies, the ancient the traditional Chinese medicine, or sort of Eastern arts. Physical or Tai Chi, Aikido, Qigong, these types of practices, they're all about working through the energetic fields within the body and clearing those lines, the meridians and such lines, which is just piezoelectric or little electrical connection points through the body that gets the circulation working properly.
It is certainly something I'm interested in, and I've had 3 women in my life now have told me that I have provided some kind of sexual healing to them. As far as I'm concerned, I was just making love with them, but I don't regard myself as a healer or a sexual healer, but I'm curious about it because I've been told I've given something special. I've enabled doors to be reopened, so to speak, or I've enabled people to feel differently about themselves, and I think that's lovely, and I'd like to do more of that. But so I suppose I'm interested in this kind of thing because I want to connect with people on that level, but I don't understand the language.
Well, you're perfectly placed then, aren't you? Because you that wouldn't surprise me at all. Sexual energy is profoundly healing. You're not coming at it from any place where you've got issues.
No.
So therefore, you're putting in pure light energy into that person, and if the person you're with is responding in openness, then that loving energy will heal. And it will allow a healing to occur, and it's beautiful. It depends on how open that woman is and that level of trust between you. But yes, you may not be using the terminology that some people may be using, but you're using the magic, you're using the art of energy, you're using your intent to love, and that love is pure. And if that is received as pure love, then that has the ability to heal. And it's beautiful. Yeah, I would definitely encourage you to explore more of your gift in that area, because the world needs more pure masculine light coming in that's not tainted, that's not weighed down with issues. We don't need to worry about naming it at all. No. You just need to have it in your heart, and your heart is beautiful. It's definitely resounding in a very open level, which is attracting all these beautiful people into your world. And
now and again, not so beautiful. I have 1 or 2 parasitic relationships where people can see how much energy I've got and enthusiasm, and that I always reply to their texts, and I always am there for them. And so I've got 1 or 2 people in my life who are, as I call it, a parasitic thing, because they kind of suck on me, not in a sexual way. I can think of a couple of people who kind of use me as a sounding board, and now it's not exactly parasitic because I know that I'm strong enough to deal with that, and I get some kind of pleasure of just, they need to talk to me, they need to pour out their heart to me, and I'm just gonna type hugs, or you'll be all right, or just get some sleep, or something like that, or let's meet up for a coffee sometime.
Is that just sharing energy?
And that is what they need, So
you just do it naturally, John. That's beautiful. That is exactly what the world needs, is more men who are open about their sexuality, who are open about loving people without judgment, who are not concerned about how you classify different things, but are just open to love. That's just perfect. I'm never going to argue with that.
That's nice. It's nice to get this bit of feedback.
Well, I love energy. I love sex magic. I love being able to talk on all these different levels. But yeah, it's lovely to hear somebody who doesn't come at it, who is just coming at it from, this is just who I am. And it's beautiful and it's untainted. So keep up the good work, and yeah, come into the circles more and help other men, because that, again, this is a big thing, is to help other men at this point stand up and feel that they can be that open. Because a lot of men are very blocked just now, and a lot of women are very angry, and it's not a brilliant combination.
No. I can understand why women are angry. I'm angry for women, and I'm angry about what a lot of men do. You know, I don't like patriarchy. I've been a feminist since 1980 something. One of my friends was raped. Had a massive impact on me. Had a really, really profound impact. It made me join the Green Party back in 1989, when I realised that the Green Party had feminism at its heart. So yeah, I'm angry. I'm angry about patriarchy and I mean, just read my Facebook wall. What's something that's gone on recently?
I will need to say goodbye because my child's not settling down, and Nick has been doing a fantastic job trying to keep it at bay, but he's not. It's not happening, so I will need to go to mummy duty.
Simone,
Love and leave you. Nice seeing you.
Beautiful to have you in this space, Simone. I'll hug you soon, okay?
Yeah, big hug.
Big love to your babies. We'll see them soon. That was really nice of Simone to be here. How awesome is that? Sorry?
He seems like a nice lass.
Yes. I'm surrounded by the most amazing people, and when I opened this space, you've got no idea who's going to turn up, and I have complete trust that the right people will come in to hear whatever it is that needs to be heard. So that's how I live my life. Complete trust.
I'm going to go and get a log for the stove.
Okie dokie.
Thank you.
Clara, are you still with us? Hope you're all right over there. Thank you for joining us in this space. You kind of missed the whole pan, because we were talking about the pan energy earlier, and we were talking about how that is more the lusting energy that we're trying to release in the world just now, I guess. And we're talking about, you know, how to release that energy for the full moon is quite important just now, because we were talking about whereas John is amazing in the fact that his energy is free flowing. For most of us, our energies aren't free flowing, and they haven't been free flowing. So embracing some sort of rituals and some sort of intentional breath work, intentional movement, yes, in a more lustful manner would be very useful. That's kind of where we've been. To get us up to this point. I don't know how much longer we need to keep the space open for. I'm not going to do anything while John's away. Thank you to the people who are in chat just now. Lovely to have you chatting with us as well. We can see you. That's supposed to be something. It's just nothing. Oh. Richard just coming to the computer and has just noticed that Clara's picture's a photograph. Really statuesque. Yes, no, that's fine.
Give her off that screen. I'm looking at it from.
We've got two different pictures up, because we've got the Google Hangout page there, and we've got the YouTube page as well. So we're monitoring both. It's working all right. I think we're doing okay. Is there anything else anybody else would like to cover? I'm trying to think. Was there anything else we said we would that we haven't? I think we've covered most things.
It's covered most things, and it's kind of gone further than that as well, which has been really.
We always got to see what's juicy, what's happening, what people want to talk about. But yeah, I don't know. 16 years of marriage. 16 years ago, just now, we were on our wedding night.
They're not dancing to Guns N' Roses right now.
Probably. Something like that.
One of those mistakes you never, ever, ever forget. So.
I asked Chris to dance with me on my wedding night, and he said no, he was too busy talking to somebody else. You don't do that on your wedding night, because you never forget. And it's not because I'm an elephant. So yeah, we thought we'd open up this chat just to see who would turn up, who wants to talk some energy. We're hoping to open up a space then soon, which will explore these in a physical space. I think that would be nice. Maybe do some couples work. Maybe work with Simone, because I know Simone's done some connection work as well. Maybe, and she does take it very seriously. She takes what she does. Yeah, it's a beautiful consciousness she brings into it. But yes, maybe some more connection stuff for the single people, and maybe some more, yeah, couple work. Maybe some slight edge kink work together to explore some space.
And in that, I mean, edge kink work is boundaries and trust. You know, you can bring it into kind of less edgy words, really, but it's dealing with what our boundaries are and respecting our boundaries, knowing our boundaries, understanding our boundaries, being willing to maybe push them a little bit further to see if actually, oh, that boundary I thought I had is not actually the boundary that's there. I'm able to kind of go beyond that somewhat, and being in a safe environment to explore that with no judgment, with absolute openness and love and support, I think, from the people around you. So because I don't feel like I'm a particularly kinky person. It's other people that would say I am. Exactly, and it's other people that would say I am. But it's dealing with it's my boundaries. It's trust. That's really what kind of gets my juice flowing in those types of experiences. Yeah, it's not exactly easeful and flowing. It has to be said, but that's kind of how I'm wired that way.
Somebody in the chat's asked, how did you feel before and during this full moon? I'll tell you, this full moon has been intense. I've been really emotional for the past few days, and more so than usual. So I think this full moon is a very powerful full moon. So yes, which is one of the reasons why we're in this space, so use it. You don't believe in it, just pretend. Pretend you believe in it.
Gravity has an effect. Everything's connected at that kind of things push and pull, tides flow as a result of the moon, so the water in our bodies is going to be affected. There's going to be always some kind of effect as there is this waxing and waning. Again, I came into the full moon group that Carol created with an open skepticism, I suppose. Yeah, with an open skepticism, and as I've been attending the full moon group through Magical Intent every 2 weeks for a year and a half, almost 2 years, I begin to see within myself patterns. Now, whether that's laying in this real, this seeing of the new moon into the full moon and attaching symbolism to it, or whether it's recognizing that there is a following pattern, I'm not entirely sure or clear. But the new moon that came round in Taurus, as it happens, that's where it was in the sky, to this full moon in Sagittarius, to this morning, I've had such a profound shift in my own energy. I just, last night, just before I went to bed, Carol actually went to bed early, and I held the space for the full moon group, which I've not done really before. And when I came out of that and went to bed, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I got up this morning. I went to bed last night, and you know what? Just fuck this shit. I cannot be bothered holding on to all this crap anymore. Trying to be something for somebody that I can't be, and that was all this that was weighing down on me in these past 2 weeks, and that had been building up over months and months. And last night, it just poured off me. I can't do it anymore, and I want to step into my life in a completely new way. And yeah, whether that's just a shift in my own mind that I've broken that back and I'm not wearing it anymore, or whether there's a more celestial influence that's supporting that or guiding it, is entirely open. Again, I'm not attached to either, but I know that shit has shifted in this past 24 hours for me.
I think this is an epic full moon. I think if you use the energy in this full moon, you can shift an awful lot of things. I'm wondering who Artix86 is in the chat.
I don't know who Artix86 is. We've got a...
Somebody's been chatting along.
Yeah.
But yes. All right. Is there anything else we want to cover? Is there anything else we feel like we've missed out on? What does anybody say? Because we've got stuff to get on with. Yes, we've got our very own full moon rituals to go with. Wonderful. All right. We will be holding more spaces like this, I think, with different flavors, whether it's going to be magic flavors, whether it's going to be poly flavors, whether it's going to be this kind of blended a bunch of different things in one. It's been interesting to see who came into the space and what they wanted to talk about a bunch of different things. That's good. Stuff for us to think about, because yeah, want to connect more with the world, want to connect more with people, want to open more spaces. Lots of love to the chat. Thank you very much, John. I am so pleased you came into this chat, seriously, because yeah, we've been friends for ages and we've never spoken.
No.
And it's been beautiful to hear you.
And we've had no Facebook shared posts, because I always look at see friendship. If you look at your, because sometimes I like, how do I know that person? So I then click, and we've not communicated at all. So I have no idea why we initially kind of became friends. But since 2012, that's a long time.
Yep.
So I'm really pleased to have met you, so to speak, and your fella. So that's good.
It's been lovely, because yes, I remember when you came up on my feed. I remember. I don't know why we connected, but yes, it was most likely over the poly thing. But I remember thinking you were awesome.
I think it's definitely the poly thing.
That was definitely how I got was made aware of you, John. And yeah, I think I've only joined the group, the Poly UK or UK Poly, but that's the only way that I know you, and through more but comments from other people as well, just kind of complimenting on how well you administrate that page and kind of keep everything in check, which is, I think it makes a massive difference. I've been a member of a couple of groups on Facebook, and it's so restrictive. It doesn't allow for conversation, whereas I don't know, the way that you've structured it and the way that people respect and interact on it as well does seem to allow for people to be respected and for an openness of ideas and exchanges within that as well. And I'm sure that's just your own experience that's kind of brought that all together. So yeah, definitely been a pleasure to hear from you this evening.
I mean, not everybody likes me, but I suppose that's life, isn't it?
I'm learning that it's okay for people not to like me.
Yeah.
I spent 30 odd years absolutely terrified with that. So, but I'm okay now. You cannot like me. It's cool. I like me. I'm getting me now at last. So yes, John, thank you very much. That's been awesome.
Thank you.
Clara, I see you're back. We're just shutting down this space just now. But listen, I love you to pieces. You are an awesome inspiration. I hope we catch up again soon, and we can talk more energy.
I don't know if you could hear me.
I can
hear you. Hello.
Oh, because I was trying to say something earlier, and I wasn't agreeing with a couple of things being said, and I just wanted to share before I go that I'm actually a soul connector, and I have a very special talent that when souls cross over, I've crossed over as well, and a lot of people don't understand about it. So I'm very, very, very blessed to have that gift, and I have a lot of downloads of information as well. And I don't label myself either because I don't like to, but in tribes I would have been called a Shah woman or a shaman.
Shaman. Yeah.
And those kind of people have, special talents that help warn or forewarn the communities when, catastrophes and things are going to happen. So I have a kind of energy that flows through me very powerfully, and I'm very excited in this time because I share the divine feminine energy. I'm actually writing about it a lot at the moment. I'm about to do a summit because it's not very understood. And we've, as you said rightly earlier, you know, we're living in a very patriarchal society, but the feminine is really awakening powerfully at the moment. The Shakti energy is quite incredible right now. And I'm very excited to be part of this new movement. So I feel really like there's so many exciting things happening right now. And I know there's a group of women that I'm joined to right now that we really are moving the energy, and the ability to see the energy is quite awesome. And I'm actually sharing that work as well because it's so exciting. And I work with plants as well, and you know, plants have energy. We're connected to the energy. We're connected to the planet. You know, we've cut off over the thousands of years by overly thinking things and being in the mind. And, you know, one thing I've been writing a lot about lately, because I write about this stuff, it's my passion, it's my topic, is that we, in the 21st century, and Einstein also concurred with this, and I think a lot of people do, have made the mind the master, and the soul, or the other part, whatever you want to call that, which I'm very blessed, as I said, because I connect to it, we've made that the servant, and we've got it completely wrong. And it's kind of, the magic is incredible. The magic of the energy that moves you when you're connected to it is so freaking awesome. It's unreal, and we don't understand it fully because we haven't taught ourselves it. You know, we've forgotten what it is, but we're waking back up to it. And so I feel so blessed that I'm one of the ones sharing this work right now. So watch this space.
I certainly will, Clara, because I totally resonate with you. That's the very energy that I'm dancing every single day with. It is.
Me too.
I understand it flows through my body. And I mean, John, I used to come from a very sciencey background as well. I went and studied accountancy. I tried my very best not to be this kind of flippy, but I have been now following moons for a long time. I've now been following energy for a long time, and I've been raising my own energy and coming into my own alignment. So I totally get what Clara's talking about, and that's what I want to push about all the time.
We're born with it. We're inherently born with it, so we don't have to follow it. We're it. It's already us. And the more we wake up to the consciousness that we are, I mean, I'm teaching at the moment that we are so much more than we've ever been taught. And it's so exciting. I just think it's unreal. And because I had mine, up to the age of 3 years old, I was really open to it. And then slowly I got shut down really strongly. But because the flicker and the flame was so strong inside me, it couldn't negate it. It couldn't be negated. And I'm writing about the journey that when I opened up to it. I went through severe trauma at the time because it was so shut down, and it was trying desperately to waken up. And we have this incredible guidance system. People take plants, etc., to jog it, but actually it's already there. You know, we are already it. And so we're recalibrating at the moment as a planet, which is why we're seeing so much stuff going on, because it's desperately trying to recalibrate. And you know, the more people don't get with it, the worse it's going to get for people. The more you get with it, the better it's going to get, and that's a fact. You just have to trust it. It's like so freaking awesome. I'm shaking with excitement actually, because I've just tuned in big time to the energy today. I'm also in my father's room. My late father died in January, and you know, I passed over with him as he left his body, and I've done that quite a lot of times now. And how can I qualify that scientifically? But the only way I can qualify it is the first time I had this happen to me was when my aunt was dying. So this is just a kind of way of measuring it. So I'm going to just share it because it's the only way that is measurable. and it gives you an illustration of how powerful we are as human beings when we open up to this place, whatever you want to call it. But she was dying. My mom was like, it was her older sister, and it was very late, and my uncle was saying to her, look, you know, you've got to go, you've got to get some sleep. It could be another 2 days before she dies. We don't know when she's going to go. Go and get some sleep. And I was actually staying with my mum, my husband, my 2 baby sons at the time, and she came back. We all went to bed, and I was kind of snoozing. I was like going to sleep, and then suddenly I had this sensation that there was something in the room, a very powerful presence, and it was really, really strong. And I woke my husband up because my mom had a bungalow and the windows were all open, and I said, oh my God, I think there's somebody in the room, or there's an animal outside, I can sense it. So he gets up, he looks out the window, he says, don't be silly, you're dreaming, go back to sleep. And my little boy also, who's very connected to me, so again, this is the energy connection, he also woke up saying, Mummy, Mummy, there's a monster in the room. So my husband, you know, put him back down to sleep as well. And so so I go back to sleep thinking, well, you know, okay, settle down. But I was unsettled because I'd literally had this sensation of something very, very big in the room, this very strong presence. So I go back to sleep, but as I go back to sleep this time, I literally jolt through to the other side. I go through in the realms, I cross the dimensions, and all of a sudden in my state of lucid dreaming, I'm down in the graveyard where my grandfather is buried. It's like this beautiful light. It's the cherry tree is in full bloom, and I'm there, and she's there with me, my aunt. And in that, I don't know how long that lasted, but I woke up suddenly. And so I said to my husband at the time, Nick, quick, get up, wake up, the phone's going to ring, because the house, obviously, everyone is sleeping. Quick, before it wakes the boys up again. He's like, no, you're dreaming. I said, get up, quick, I promise you that phone is going to go. My aunt's just died. And sure as enough, within minutes of him getting there, the phone is ringing, and she has passed. She has died. So that's just one example of me feeling the energy realms. And, you know, we are also capable of tuning into it. I mean, I have a special gift for it, I know, but I do train people to tap in deeply to this sensory place that we have within us. And it's really awesome.
I love,
just
I
one
love
illustration of it. But, you know, there's many, I could say many different occasions where that's happened to me, and I have sensed that kind of level, and I have, you know, transcended realities. And this happened to me before I'd ever taken any kind of plant medicine, actually. So, you know, where does that come from?
Your ability?
Yeah, of course. But what I'm saying is that's still energy. That's still reading energy.
Yes.
You know.
Well, that's you being source, isn't it? I think that's just ultimately connected into the flow. And yes, you feel it as passion, and I recognize it when it flows through me, because you do shake. Your body does vibrate with that excitement of feeling it. So I recognize that. For a very long time, I wouldn't have believed you. I wouldn't have, or I would have taken you with a pinch of salt. But I've lived long enough in my life now to 100% understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I mean, here's another example. You know, I feel Gaia, I feel the earth, and every time there's been an earthquake, I've actually physically rocked. I mean, I came out of a loo years and years ago. I was doing a vibrational energy medicine course, which was all the crystal essences, all the batch plants, all the plants. We had to take them every day. We had to take them for, I think we did the course, I think it was a 2-year course, I can't remember now, but for the whole of that period, we had to work very, very deeply with ourselves. And it was during that time I was in the loo, and I literally rocked, and I came out and I went, oh my God, did anyone feel that? Feel what, Clara? I'm like, well, it just shook. I just shook. Did you not feel the building shake? And they looked at me completely blankly, and I'm thinking, oh, fucking hell, okay. I mean, I know I have a tendency to be nuts, but it's like, okay. Anyway, not within a week, within 4 days, there was a massive earthquake somewhere in the world. And that happens to me regularly. So again, you know, our connection, our energetic connection is incredibly powerful. And like, even with the Nepal earthquake, I was up in the Malvern Hills walking with a friend, and he's got used to me now, but I said, oh my God, oh my God. He said, what's the matter? I said, we've got to get off this freaking mountain. There's going to be a landslide. It's huge. It's huge. I can feel the energy of the mountain. And literally there was the Nepal earthslide. So, you know, that the land speaks to us, the earth speaks to us. We are vibrationally, energetically connected to it. And I think the feminine, of course, is a very open channel, because we give birth. I mean, when I was pregnant with my sons, I was doing a lot of Reiki, having Reiki done on me, and I physically saw my son in my womb as a vision in the future. I think he was 2 or 3 years old. I saw his coloring. I saw him playing by the sea. I saw him laughing, and he is exactly that little boy. I mean, he's not a little boy anymore. It's 23, but you know, he was at the time. With his dad, laughing, and all the coloring. So, you know, I really, really love the fact that we have this incredible energy system, and most people don't know how to work with it. That's why I said earlier, it's an emotional guidance system, and it's fucking awesome. And we are not taught it. And I think there's a whole bunch of us really with this ability. We're going to help shape the world, because when we understand it, everything changes. The whole of life changes. You know, it really changes your perspective. I'm sure if I'd have been born, you know, however many years ago, I'd have been being burnt as a witch. But I think we've all come through that phase enough to know that, you know, and I also connect to very divine feminine energy, so it's very pure. I don't connect to anything, you know, that isn't pure. So for me, it's very exciting, the time that we're currently living in, and what we're waking up to more of, what we're becoming.
Totally with you, Clara. I feel very honoured you're in this space with us. Thank you.
Well, you called it earlier. I mean, you're talking about energy, so.
Well, that's it. No, and I've been listening to you, and I can't disagree with what you're saying at all, because it's the very same energy that's called me, and it's the very same energy which opened this space tonight. Yeah. Because this time last night I wasn't opening this space, and it was that I was just kind of, I follow the flow, and the flow to me said this morning, you need to open the space, and this is what it's going to be about. I'm like, okay, I can do that.
I'm excited, because I'm excited to help wake men up. I think they've forgotten.
A lot of men have. John hasn't.
They have totally fucking forgotten. And you know, it's hilarious, really. Now, I mean, I was a terribly disempowered female back in my early 20s. I was so shut down, and I've had to work really freaking hard to understand my energy system and really appreciate it and share it. And I've had so many exciting kind of experiences where I've channeled energy and shared the energy and transferred it to people and with people, and they're like, wow. I mean, I'm even wow myself sometimes. I'm like, fucking hell, this is just awesome.
It is. Life is very exciting. Right, listen, we're going to shut down this space because it's getting later. But Clara, I'm going to talk to you more at some point really soon, okay? And I think we'll talk more about...
I just had to share it because it was just a few things going on earlier and I couldn't get a word in, and it was very scientific and very heady, and I'm thinking, no, we need to get this base chakra moving.
Brilliant. I love it. Thank you very much. I appreciate your heart. Your heart's
welcome.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for dropping in. We will be in touch. John, thank you very much for being here. Love you. I hope you enjoyed all the different energetic thoughts and talks. JD, love you to pieces. Thank you for being part of this space. I will catch up with you soon, hear all about your reflections. And to everybody in the live chat, thank you very much. You've been most entertaining. I've enjoyed the banter. Much love.
Banter.
Happy full moon energies, everybody.
Happy
We'll
full
catch
moon. Woohoo.
up. We'll see you all soon. Love you guys.
Okay, bye.
Bye for now. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.